Not very many older people. And that's true because most people don't live very long. A baby that might have been born this morning at St. Luke's Hospital in Cedar Rapids, the average life expectancy for that baby is about 75 years. In our town, when a baby's born, the average life expectancy is about 40 years. And that's because so many of our young people die of illnesses and so forth. We don't have very good medical care, and so a lot of people don't live very long. If you can make it to about age 15, then you got a chance to live a while. Maybe live into your 50s, 60s, and maybe into your 70s, okay? So we do have some older people, but not very many. Okay? I'm in my 50s, by the way, okay? So is my wife, Lucy. We got married. We had several children, 4 boys, 4 girls, survived to adulthood. Most of them are out on their own now, except we have 1 daughter at home and 1 boy at home. And they sort of tag along with us and learn how to do the things that we do. My son tags along with me. My daughter tags along with Lucy and learns how to do the things that she does. I guess one thing that pops into mind is, well, what do you do? By the way, there are going to be questions that come to your mind, and I'm going to ask you to resist that temptation to do this, okay? It's kind of distracting to the people around you. And so I promise, every so often I'm going to pause and give you a chance to answer your question, and I'll do my best to answer it. If I don't know, I'll admit it, okay? Because I don't know everything. I'm like you. I'm learning all the time, okay? We're always learning. Okay, well, let's start our stroll, and the first thing we're going to come to is a shop. Now, you'll notice that there's a picture, a couple of pictures, but no words. And that's because a lot of the people in our community are illiterate. In other words, they don't know how to read and write. And so that would be a waste of ink. And so if you look to have a pair of shoes repaired, or if you want to buy a new pair of shoes, you start looking for a sign like this. Now, my oldest son, he wanted to be a shoemaker, and so he entered into an agreement with a shoemaker, a cobbler. For 7 years, he worked for the guy, learned the trade, and then he went to Boston, a big city not too far from here, about 17 miles from Lexington, along the coast, and he now has a very good shoe business, okay? It has a sign very much like this one out in front. Let's walk a little further. We come to another sign, okay? This one is the blacksmith. To me, the most important guy in the community is probably the blacksmith. He knows how to do things that most people don't do. Okay? Most people don't know how to do. All right? And I'm going to give you some examples. Okay? I'm going to give you some examples. I kind of got a little ahead of myself here, and I'm going to kind of adjust just a little bit because I started to tell you the 4 things that I do to keep my family going. Okay? 4 things that I do. 1, I'm a farmer. Okay? The corn that we grow looks like this. Okay? I know it doesn't look like your corn, but this is what it looks like. Yours is yellow, pretty much. Okay? This crop was taught to us by the Native Americans. Okay? The Native Americans taught us how to grow it. And basically what they said was, get a large stick, put a notch on it right about there, because that tells you how far to poke a hole in the ground. Poke it down in there, ream it out a little bit. Then, shuck off some of the seeds, put 2 down in there, put 2, now it's got twice as much chance of growing. Okay? Then you take a chunk of fish and throw it down in there, and it stinks, but it's also a fertilizer. Okay? And it helps give that seed a good start. Okay? So we grow corn. I guess one question is how much corn? I want you to visualize a football field. I want you to visualize the end zones as well. That's about an acre. Okay, the football field plus the end zones, that's an acre. All right? We grow 3 acres. And some of you might say, wow, that's not very much. And you're right. But keep in mind now, your farmers have mechanical devices to help them do the work. And so they can farm 800 acres, 2,000 acres, 4,000 acres, and so on. Okay? So we grow corn, thanks to the Indians. We also have a garden. Our garden is about, I'd say, about 5 times the size of this room. It's maintained by my wife Lucy and my daughter. I'm going to show you what we grow in that garden. there are two things that these items have in common. One is they're edible. That makes sense. You can eat them. And secondly, every single one of these was taught to us by the Indians. Okay? When the early explorers came to this part of the world, Christopher Columbus and Jacques Cartier and Henry Hudson, when those first explorers came, they'd never seen a tomato before. They were only being grown by the Native Americans in the Americas. Now they were smart. They took the seeds and took it in their ships back across the Atlantic Ocean so that they could start growing tomatoes in Europe and in Asia and Africa and Australia. Okay? But when the first explorers came, they'd never seen a tomato before.